Greetings viewers, Night here, bringing you a new video. So in my Roger Rabbit review, I said I used to enjoy reading, and one of the things I enjoyed reading most of all, besides scary stories, were myths, legends, and folktales. And they mostly came from Greece, Scotland, and Ireland, and for the sake of today's video, Japan. I just really love stories that came from across the ocean, especially the ones that included monsters. So I'm going to be talking about some of the weirdest creatures that come from Japanese folklore. Yokai. Well, over here in the West, we mostly call them demons, monsters, ghosts, goblins, mostly in our dubbed anime, but actually sort of generalizing them. Yokai means weird thing or thing that is always changing, which when you look into some of the myths, is actually rather fitting. A yokai could be anything from an extraordinary person, an extraordinary animal, or even an inanimate object that suddenly takes on supernatural qualities, like an extraordinarily long neck, or a split tail, spreading eyes and limbs for no real reason. The behavior of yokai can range from just wanting to cause mischief, being innocent if a bit weird, preying on humans, and everything in between. And now that I got that all out of the way, let's begin. The Kappa is one of the most common known yokai, its name meaning water child. Kappa are basically amphibious creatures, being the size of a child with the back legs of a frog, a mass of dark hair lining the indentations on their heads, and sometimes the shell and beak of a turtle, and a face like a monkey. Other depictions of Kappa portray them as something like a cross between a frog and a duck, like Golduck from Pokemon, or a frog-duck-turtle hybrid, like Guapamon from Digimon. Kappa are rather popular in most forms of media, like movies, TV shows, and video games. However, Kappa were once known as rather wicked little goblins that loved to cause mischief. They would harass people on the riverbank, or raid crops, or even lure people and their livestock to the riverbanks so they could drown them and feast on their blood and flesh. There are even stories where the Kappa will reach up a person's butt and yank out either their liver or their soul, which is depicted in a spherical form. The only way to protect yourself from a Kappa was to carve your name and the names of those you wish protected into cucumbers and chuck them into the nearest body of water, as much as the Kappa loved to prey on humans. They also enjoyed a nice bite of cucumber, and this was thought to appease them. Despite being bloodthirsty goblins, Kappa still had manners. Whenever they were on land and about to enter combat with a human, a Kappa had to bow, as is tradition in Japan, to show respect. Whenever a Kappa does this, the water in the indentation on their heads will spill out, thus leaving the Kappa immobile, and you take this time to either run away or kill the Kappa. Kappa are surprisingly also good sports. If you were to be one at sumo wrestling or chess, that Kappa would be loyal to you and teach you various skills. So I'm guessing that's where today's image of the Kappa being a benign creature comes from. From one of the better known yokai to a rather obscure one. One of my least favorite things is getting a haircut, but one of my favorite yokai is a creature that loves to cut hair, the Kamakiri. The Kamakiri is a wizened little creature with either black skin or feathers, a crow-like face or just a beak, and hands shaped like a pair of scissors. The purpose of these hands is so they can snip off chunks of hair from anyone they sneak up on, presumably for the fun of it. And that's mostly what comes about through their interactions with people. They don't really care who they go after. Men, women, children, slaves, masters, anyone really. However, while the Kamakiri can be seen as pranksters, they can also be seen as a good thing, since there are stories of them showing up at weddings and snip off the hair of brides or grooms, which will be exposed as a shape-shifting animal or ghost that could harm people. Like the Kamakiri, this yokai is known for snipping things with its pincered hands. However, unlike Kamakiri really aren't that helpful, since they'll cut anything they come into contact with, screen doors or nets. They can basically be seen as a type of pest. There's legends about an Amakiri cut holes into a fishing net, and when the fishers tried to catch the Amakiri, the creature basically cut holes in his mosquito net while the man was sleeping. As you can see, Amakiri are basically ghostly little lobsters with the face of birds. So yeah, kinda freaky. So, how many of you like mermaids? Do you want to see a Japanese mermaid? Well, here you go. Yeah. The Ningyu aren't as big as their Western cousins, nor were they really meant to be until the end of the Edo period. In fact, Ningyu pretty much means human fish, and they were often depicted with really ugly faces, mouths full of jagged teeth, wild hair, and sometimes horns. Well, of course, that's just one type of Ningyu, since there were apparently others that were humanoid from the waist up. But these were still pretty hideous, having bony arms and fingers. Again, making these things pretty was pretty much only a thing after the Edo period was over. I'm guessing that made what the Ningyu were most known for all that more uncomfortable then. See, some legends say if you eat the flesh of a Ningyu, you will obtain eternal life and youth. Although I did recently hear a legend where people who ate a Ningyu all died a horrible death while being covered in fish scales, but But see now, if you do eat the flesh of one of these creatures, you will pretty much be cursed. And you most certainly won't suffer alone. It's likely that your entire family or your entire town will suffer along with you. Being a piscivore myself, this is the second Japanese fish dish I wouldn't want to try. If you go up our hike today, you may be in for a surprise. If you go into the woods today, you may not believe your eyes. Especially if you go hiking in the woods of Kimamuda. I'm sorry I possibly butchered that name, because that's where Burasamashi are sometimes said to appear to people, often startling them. Although no sources say whether this is intentional, or just a result of making themselves known to passing humans. They're very rare yokai, and said to appear only deeply in forest mountains. Burasamashi are squat little creatures that wear straw raincoats, carry staffs, and have heads that resemble either stones or potatoes. The reason for their appearance is because it's believed they are possibly the ghosts of oil thieves who escaped deep into the mountains to avoid the law, since oil was a very valuable commodity back then. And being reincarnated as a yokai is quite possibly worse than any punishment a human judge could sentence them to. So children, may this be a lesson to you. Stealing has consequences. So, this is likely going to be the first name I mispronounce. I sincerely apologize to all the Japanese people that might be watching for being a stupid, monotone American. Hyukuma, again my sincerest apologies, are basically one of the most hideous yokai in creation. They're basically fleshy blobs covered in hundreds of eyes that live in either abandoned temples or caves. They prefer to live in dark places because the sunlight hurts all of their eyes, and thus they stay as far away as possible from any spot where the sun might be shining down before they go to sleep for the day. Now, why do they look like this? Well, mainly to scare away thieves and bandits that might try to hide in their homes. If a Hyukuma detects a human in their domain, one of their eyes will just detach from the main body, seek out the intruder, and stick itself to them. If the human is a criminal or performs a criminal act, the Hyukuma will just lunge at them out of the darkness, scaring them away and reclaiming their eye. They aren't violent though, and I doubt they could really hurt anyone if they actually wanted to. They just use their size and horrific appearance to frighten people. There are a few yokai that have something to do with heads. The Rokurokubi are human women that can extend their necks, and there are the Nukukube that can detach their heads from their bodies. However, I haven't heard much about the Kubakajiri, which are basically headless ghouls. They're said to hang out in graveyards and come out at night to search for their missing heads, sort of like the Headless Horseman, except they'll eat the heads of any unfortunate humans they come across. How they're supposed to eat anything without their head is a mystery though. This yokai is both creepy and confusing in how it kills you. Keeping up with the theme of heads, sort of, we have the Nurhan, Again, I am so sorry. A yokai known for sneaking into houses where he'll nick food, drink tobacco, and somehow be able to convince the actual owners that he's the master of the house and belongs there. They're known as the masters of all yokai for whatever reason, and are often depicted in anime and video games as having a high position of power and influence. They are often depicted as short old men with large heads the shape of gourds. However, they were supposedly originally supernatural jellyfish that made the ocean their home. They would also take the forms of catfish. This isn't too surprising since their name means slippery gourd. Though I suppose if you're going to break into someone's house, you might as well look as human as possible. If late at night you hear the click-click-clack of sandals and chant of someone saying, eyes 3, teeth 2, you probably have a Bakezuri in the house. Bakezuri are a type of yokai called Sakumogami, which are inanimate objects that receive a spirit after a period of time or under certain circumstances. Bakezuri come into existence if a pair of Zuri sandals are mistreated and forgotten. Will run around the house chanting at night, attempting to disturb the household, and preventing people from getting a good night's sleep. Eyes 3 refers to the holes made with the straps in a sandal, and teeth 2 refers to the platforms. So make sure to take care of your belongings, kids, or they may come to life and decide to play a lot of little pranks on you. Another type of Sakumogami is the Kasobake, also known as the Karakasakozu, the meaning behind the second name being Paper Umbrella Priest Boy, as the yokai would originally manifest as a young boy with a paper umbrella on his head, until they would become ghostly umbrellas themselves, which haunt old temples. They like to hop around on one leg, curling and uncurling the long tongue that hangs out of their mouth, while staring at anyone they come across with their one giant eye. Aside from that, however, there isn't much they can do other than scare you. They're basically one of the more infamous Sakumogami, appearing in anime, manga, and video games like Game no Kitaro and Yokai Watch. However, there are some out there that debate whether or not the Kasobake should be considered a yokai, due to them having originated from card games and urban legends, much like the next spook in this video. I advise any dog lovers to skip this part. Jimenkin are a relatively new yokai, having been born from urban legends in modern-day Japan, since there's one story of one chasing after a car. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you what Jimenkin are. They're basically dogs with the faces or heads of men, and their name literally means man-faced dog. There's no real explanation for why this is, although it could be that they're meant to be a type of ghost, since one appears in the first episode of the anime Ghost Stories, and the backstories of Manjima and Dandul from Yokai Watch is they were both human men who got so drunk they knocked over a stack of wooden planks, that fell over and crushed them and any dog that was nearby, and they were reborn as a man with the body of a dog. Unlike yokai, they either have to cause mischief or prey on humans. Jim and Ken would rather be left alone, and if spoken to, will be rather rude to people who, for whatever reason, try to interact with them. So, you guys like fuzzy things, right? Then you might like the Kiwi Kugan. This beast that manifests as fluffy, furry creatures that somewhat look like a dog, but are quite obviously their own species. But then again, you probably wouldn't like the Kugan, since despite their adorable appearance, they live in very unhygienic places. Unkempt gardens, dusty houses, and even on their floorboards. They also eat mold and garbage whenever it can be found. Despite their cute look, they're actually considered pests that bring bad luck, pestilence, and disease with them. The best way to keep them away is to regularly clean your house, since they're turned off by cleanliness. To contrast our last yokai, here's a living broom called the Haki Hakigami. Long ago in Japan, brooms were used to drive away evil spirits and negative energy. After a significant amount of time, the broom will adopt a spirit of its own and become a Sakumogami. These creatures can normally be seen on cold, windy mornings, blowing around and sweeping away leaves. How would you like to look through your window one autumn morning and see one of these in your front yard? So this next yokai is also associated with cleaning, but does it in a rather disgusting way. Akaname resemble red chalk-faced creatures that have a massive hair on their heads, a single-toed foot that ends in a claw, and an extendable tongue, which they use to lick the grime and filth off the floors and walls of bathrooms, as well as lick unclean feet. Ugh. Akaname show up to clean rather than be a pest, however, so despite their cleaning habits, you might consider yourself fortunate to have one around. It seems Akaname are apparently becoming a somewhat popular yokai, or at least that's what I was able to determine, due to them popping up in anime and games like Gege no Kitaro and Yokai Watch. Yes, Yokai Watch fans. In Japanese, Tablape is called the filth liquor. You're welcome. One of the truly more bizarre looking yokai, the Simare, is a serpentine creature that possesses the face of a human, but has the wings, clawed feet, and beak of a bird. As if its appearance wasn't strange enough, the word Itsimare translates to Tilwen, which it supposedly cries out in regards to a death that has occurred and has yet to be noticed. Until said death has been noticed, the Isimare will fly around in circles in the night sky. It is thought that Isimare are thought to be spirits, which cry out in pain and suffering. The first Isimare is thought to have appeared all the way back in 1334 and caused a disturbance over an imperial palace until it was shot down. Another mix-and-match creature from Japan, and there are quite a few, is the Nue, sometimes called the Japanese Chimera. The Nue is a large monster that has the body of a raccoon dog, the clawed limbs of a tiger, the head of a monkey, and a serpent for a tail. While nicknamed the Japanese Chimera, it would seem that the Nue is its own species, since there are usually tales of more than one Nue. As with a lot of creatures in Japanese folklore, Nue also seem to have otherworldly powers, as in one tale, and knew it was responsible for the poor health of an imperial lord until it was slain. Our final yokai of the video is one that will truly gross you out. Yeah, sorry if you're expecting this video to end on a high note. This one is just too weird not to talk about. Meet the Nue Peppo. It's easily considered one of the ugliest yokai. And that's saying something considering we had the Kukuma on the list earlier. That's mainly because they're just a massive walking pile of flesh that lives in old temples and graveyards. It's hard to tell if these things even have a face, even though the folds of fat that droop down all around it are thought to resemble one. Not only are Nue Peppo ugly, they have an atrocious stink, like feces. Ugh. Thankfully, Nue Peppo aren't dangerous, but they are kind of jackasses, since if they come across a human, they'll chase after the poor unfortunate soul, trying to make them smell its stench. They are even known to go into towns at night and cause a riot for their own amusement. Thankfully, they're rare, so encounters with these creatures barely ever happen. And those are all the weird yokai I had anything to say about. There are a lot more weird yokai out there, and if this video does well enough, maybe I'll do another video on the subject. But what do you guys think? Which of these yokai sound the weirdest to you? I'm Night saying thanks for letting me share my thoughts. Please share yours with me.